how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we win, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we win. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man. This is how we rock. This is how we win. This is how we roll, man.
Good morning, afternoon, or good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Vulpis EU Cup semi-finals up on the winner's side. It's the Netherlands on one side, as well as Sheffield coming in for the other. Just me this evening, SuperSonicBlur here, and Rosy, our wonderful cameraman or woman, depending on how you wish to look at that. But picks and bans for game one. Like I said, this is the top side of the bracket, so it's not all doom and gloom for either one of these, but it will get them a sure shot fire into the finals where they are playing for a big gem prizing. Picks and bans already getting underway. So far, everything seems fairly standard. If you've been around well, pretty much any kind of competitive scene, then some of these picks are going to be no surprise to you. Your Moja, Nemesis, Persephone, and Set, all of these are very strong gods with very easy capabilities to steamroll through a game, and just taking them off the table is always good. You've got high-end players, high-level mechanics on display here, but these are just four gods who, if you make one mistake, just take that and run with it for so much more, and it's very difficult to then punish them. So these four being taken away, no real surprise. There's still a couple of interesting options that are available. The ADC side of things can get a little bit of focus fire here, though we have tended to see a little bit look more towards the Guardians, honestly. Sobek's been making the rounds of being a very strong support, not solo laner. Ra, as we see, is another good mid laner as well. Cthulhu is still on the table. There's still a lot that is around that could be taken off the table here, and it is going to be the Cthulhu, so I like what we've seen here. Waiting on first pick, but like I mentioned, there's so many things currently in this current meta that are available. It's very difficult to straight up just say you get nothing. This Guan Yu, though, mwah, chef's kiss. If you're going to pick something that's first pick that isn't necessarily super, quote unquote, top tier, no, I personally think Guan Yu is, then you pick something that's got flexibility, that can go multiple different ways, that doesn't overly punish you if they get two strong things. Because first pick, this Guan Yu can be support, whether you want to love them. It could be jungle, where they do just absolutely fine. Could be solo, where if you want to fight a lot around solo, it's just fantastic to have a Guan Yu. So I personally really like this pick. We are going to see in response, though, an Athena and Scylla. Again, not necessarily two of the top picks for this side of things, but if it's something that you're comfortable with and you want to just grab that security, then go right ahead for it. It's a great bit of CC, great global presence, and a fantastic late game mage for your mid lane. So I am certainly more than happy to see this. In response, for the last side on order is Rama and Ganesh. So that's the dual lane sorted. A very strong push power here. The Ram, we've seen a lot of rise from Ram with this Silver Branch bow build that's coming through, and Ram just loves being able to get to the late game. And like I mentioned before, if you're fighting more around solo side, this means that ADCs just get the free farm for 15, 20 minutes. Must be nice to be that. Anyway, I digress. The Ganesh going with this as well. Whilst not necessarily the same level of rotations, what they do in the middle of a team fight is very, very strong. The silence can also disrupt a lot with Athena. It can disrupt Scylla's combo in any of this side of things. Not to mention, like when I first said, the raw push power, Ganesh doesn't have to worry about last hitting. They can just whack every single minion on the wave, couple him with a Ram. It's pretty much curtains for dual lane pressure. You're going to need something quite strong to go with it. That said, we see that Iron 4 is locked in the Achilles here for the team. Whether or not that's solo or jungle, we've yet to really see. But ban-wise, Morrigan and Ravana have been taken away. So looking again towards the mid and jungle, I like this call. Two very, very good, solid options. Whereas Hunters have been taken away with the Hou-Yi. I would be surprised if it's not a Cupid ban here, if they are going to look at Hunters, just because, well, if you've already got the Ram, take away what is also considered the next highest god. But maybe they want to try and leave that pick open as almost sort of a bait, as in we've got something that can deal with this, and it looks like that is going to be the plan. They do not believe this Achilles is going to be jungle, so Daji is the pick to take away. And I do like this. If you've got already a couple of characters who punish you heavily with high amounts of damage for not having crowd control immunity, then take away a god who strips away the beads, forces your ults in those situations. and still does a ridiculous amount of damage and mobility. So the Darchi, I really like this. It sets up very, very nicely. Taking that away is a very smart look as we do make our way into the second round of picks here. I will be curious to see what it is that's picked up. So far, it is the Cupid Hover, and it will get locked in. So that does confirm that the Cupid might be something that there is a plan around for. But we're just waiting on the last two picks for order. That is an Agni and an Apollo. Okay, then. Now things are getting interesting here. We've got the double hunter comp, but we also as well have the Agni for mid. So be very interested to see. Could be Apollo jungle. I do say that with the most sincerity that I physically can, but we'll have to see, as last pick was a Ratatoskr. So that's, again, coupling in some fantastic mobility, a lot of gang potential. Really, really nice CC. I'm loving what I'm seeing from both of these two drafts, but I shall be very curious to see quite how Sheffield want to play this. They've got not only this Apollo for rotations to try and match it, they've got this Guan Yu. Their team fight's going to be very interesting. The late game coming out of Sheffield is absolutely bonkers. You have two great late game hunters, a god who the longer a team fight goes on just makes you win more, a god who just dumps the entirety of the kit, proccing Soul Reavers 3 times on their ult. And then you also as well have the fantastic crowd control and zoning potential and just spacing that is Ganesh. So I am very scared to be going up against this comp. That said, Netherlands have a fantastic looking draft as well. Great CC, executes to deal with any targets who survive the initial burst. Great big crowd control with the Cupid for IAM4. Huge rotational globals as well. Netherlands should be the ones who look to try and run the map in terms of pushing and pulling and trying to get picks with more members of their team around, but Sheffield should be aware of this and be playing with that in mind. You see all members from Sheffield on this left-hand side. They do not want any kind of funny business, and if they can find Maxime here, then that could be a nice look for them, but instead, tip the hand a little too early, and Maxime will scatter away back to safety. Interesting there, being pointed out by Rosy. We do see Loris has gone for Lively Acorn. Not one that we're used to seeing from a Ratatoskr coming out from the jungle. Usually we see over the other side, we see that we don't usually see Thick Bark or the, I don't know, I think it's Evergreen. I don't know. We usually see the other side of the Acorns with the Acorn Blast. You get 5 Acorns because it just makes the stun range increase so long. So we'll have to see how that's going to play out. But an interesting look coming out from Loris on the Netherlands, so we'll have to keep an eye on how that goes. Duo lane, as is accustomed to start off here, both sides looking to go for just for the Alpha Harpy, and that's totally fine. And so nothing too much to worry about there. Mid lane, seems like Agni didn't quite get as much clear as they wanted, which is very surprising to me. Starting with the Path of Flames, usually you're expecting that to be full clearing very early on, but unfortunately, just wasn't quite able to get that comfort to do so. And you can see in duo lane already, this option of just how devastating the clear is. Only now, the Netherlands duo lane able to fully clear, but not doing too bad. Mid going back and looking at it again. Agni gets very low. It does eat the Sikkim, but this Apollo jungle has gone power sliding in. Blink forward. Wobblefish will find Silvers for first blood, and that's a fantastic look. Loris, though, can't quite find enough damage to turn it around, but does get a great stun off onto Wobblefish, who doesn't have the dash available to him because they dashed in. Now looking for the moves is Love the Way You Lie. Unfortunately, they will not be loving the way that Loris does not lie down and will be turning it up for a 1-for-1. Very interesting look. And you have noticed that I haven't been talking too much on this Apollo jungle, mostly because at this point, I'm looking to see how it's going to work with the rest. And, well, looks like Love the Way You Lie really wanted to just show up. A very nice look in the early. Unfortunate, though, they weren't quite able to find much more peel. The Apollo, though, it's a very interesting look with the ability to be able to basically do what Ratatoskr does. It was the OG, but we'll talk about that a bit. It's a nice two-man taunt comes through, but IAM4 couldn't quite find enough damage in for the rest of the team. So instead, we just have to back this one up as we come again and look in the solo lane. As Procini Boy doing a very good job keeping this Achilles under tower, and it's pretty much what I'd expect to see coming into the solo side. When you have a god who can heal your minions, it usually tends to favor you if you can just get a little bit more damage in, because every time you heal, not only do you get that bonus heal for yourself, but all those minions start piling up. So very nice look. Unfortunately, though, not really too much that's going to come from it. Apollo, I don't know if they've actually dropped the buff. Be curious to see. Looks like they have. Yes, they have dropped it. So Zashu will be getting some of that XP where Pro Senior Boy will not. It may not make up for much, but it could be the difference between hitting level 4 and level 5 off this next wave. So again, keep paying little minds. It's all these little things at this point, just the little micro bits that could make up something interesting. Loris, though, we do now get to see which Acorn they've gone for. They have gone for Thick Branch, so 10% additional protections they are looking to try and strip away, and I absolutely love this. It gives you the same option as what this Guan's doing, being able to go into the middle of a team fight, strip 3-4 gods of protections, gain them yourself, and the 10% on top to boot is a very, very nice look, and I absolutely love this. Take away some of that frontline protection and just make the backline even squishier, considering you have 2 hunters. So I love this. I still think, personally, I prefer the Acorn Blast additional damage, but I respect it. And for now, we're going to have to see how it just plays out. But it should do fairly well, and the idea is all there. But despite the first little look in the mid lane, it's Sheffield that find themselves up 1,000 gold after the first blood. So they've done themselves a really, really good job of finding the little victories, and I do believe that a lot of that will be not only in solo, forcing the minions under tower, but as well just being able to split the map just a little bit more effectively and efficiently. See Matt Kirk in mid lane already level 5, but there's a good catch on the dash through the Cosmos has been used. Out comes the Dharmic Pillars, but it's not enough to deter anyone else. Silverus will grab Robblefish for the second time now. That is their second spill in the mid. Unfortunate look, as Love the Way You Lie is going in for the ult. They miss the ult. Azashi with a beautiful little backstop there finds that. They do fall over the defender of Olympus, and now they might look to try and invade. 2 members have come right over here. In goes Guan Yu with the Talu Assault. Does do good damage, but is stunned out. 3v2 here. They do have to be a little carefuler. There's the blink from the Ratatoska, but they aren't able to secure the buff. There's Scylla, though, with a crush. Might turn it around. Good Sikkim forces beads. And now we've got Guan Yu left alone. There are low members, but no look to try and turn around. Didn't want to try and cavalry charge in. Zashu as well. It's the scary thing with the Achilles. They have to play a little bit more careful. You see Guan's on 45, 50% HP. If that drops even just a little bit lower, then suddenly it's a turnaround for the execute. So I like the call there. Just play it safe. Very, very respectful of the damage potential. And doesn't want to throw any kind of lead that you've got as well. So I like this. I do really, really like what we've seen out of there. And as for the Hunters, well, they've been left on their own, as to be expected. A lot more fighting around this solo lane, like I had thought there would be. And because of that, both of these Hunters are comfortable and safe enough to not worry about going boots. Both just full devos here, and I wouldn't expect to see too much fireworks out of them alone unless we get any kind of rotation, just to try and force the beads and ult first, and that's what's going to happen. Meanwhile, the rest of Sheffield are off looking to try and get themselves a red buff invade. Unfortunately, just not quite there on the timer. They will have to settle for the little mini camp on the left-hand side. Athena didn't even force beads, but did grab the ult from the Ram, so keep an eye on that for now as everything sort of settles back. There's the ult from Fields of Love coming through, forcing beads. A great look. The heart bomb has still gone off. Over 100 HP, barely left over. He needs one more order to find it. Can he find it? No. Diamond Pillars come through, and they get it with a beautiful turn of fate, but minions say no. They will secure a 1-for-1 turnaround on that. Defender of Olympus comes down. The Ganesh gets very low and will end up falling. Laris picks that one up. Now we've got the Apollo coming in from across the skies. Unfortunately, not able to clean that one up. So a 2-for-1 is a fantastic look coming out for the Netherlands, using that mobility to just out-rotate the opponent, and just that CC on a better cooldown. Scylla forced the beads. An unfortunate spot. Took a little bit more damage from the Agni, and it is to be expected. This Agni will come online a little bit sooner in comparison to the Scylla. So a nice look, and I like the idea to try and pressure it. Agni, for me, is always a very interesting god. I love Agni, but where you have to play him is very delicate, as we see a response immediately from the dash taunt of just dashing straight away. Though I love the fact that we saw Silverus just go, I have complete confidence that you will hit this. I'm ulting immediately. That's the kind of confidence I want on my team when I go, I'm dash taunting, can you ult immediately? That kind of response time is fantastic. Just unfortunate that Wobblefish was also quick on the response time as well. So 2-4 read the kill score line, but still 1,000 gold lead for Sheffield. There's an unfortunate Fatal Strike will come through, and Zashu grabs one. Whether or not they will make it back to safety is another question. Unfortunate enough, the way you line, not quite able to find enough damage to return the favor. But that's what I mentioned on this concept. You've got to be careful with it. You're going to end up in an awkward spot as Athena finds themselves caught in the Dharmic Pillars, not wanting to try and take the Bug Zapper out, but they may have ended up taking more damage than they bargained for. Asterat finds that, and that's a fantastic look for them. IAM4 cannot fight 3v1 at this point, but Into the Cosmos comes through, and they might be able to fight a 3v3. Good two-man knockup comes through, forcing Beats from Agni, and a fantastic stun. Loris does secure the kill, so 3-6 read the scoreline. Scylla is here, and Scylla is very low, so this Ram will be looking for something. There's Defender of Olympus. It cannot come through quick enough. IAM4 ends up turning it around. Loris gets a double kill, as does Love the Way You Lie, and it still ends up in favor of Sheffield. They lose 2, but trade out 3, extending their gold lead just a little bit more. And they've got to be so careful coming over to this duo lane, just because, like I mentioned when we were in picks and bans, that mobility, those 2 globals, create so much more problems with this team. You've got to have pretty much the entire map warded to try and find people out, so you could be very careful when it comes to trying to back up on those fights. It does still, like I said, work in Sheffield's favor, but surprised that we ended up seeing that fight more spill over to mid lane, more spill over to the duo lane rather than mid lane, where a lot of the focus has been before, as Sashu looks to try and go for an invade, but cannot do so successfully. And now with more members of Sheffield showing up, they will probably have to back this one off. There's the buff secured, and all is fair and right with the world. 10 minutes in now, as Firegiant has spawned, and slowly but surely, Sheffield are pulling up this lead. They've caught up a lot in the kill side of things. What was 2-4 is now 6-7. So very nice work coming out for them. His main items are starting to come online. Good dash taunt. Gets a great look. The silence stops everything else from coming through, meaning Wobblefish is able to follow this up. A great Dharmic Pillars sets up 2 kills very nicely. Silverus will get the I'm a Monster, but cancels it to Sentinel out instead. And that was all started up by Maxime going again, trying to find something. They're still going. Love the Way You Lie. Ends up finding Maxime under the tower, despite the rotation from the Hunters. Great look coming out from this Apollo jungle, and now even turning it around as the Astral Raj comes through from halfway in the lane. Now they can look to try and dive this a little bit more. You know Love You Where You Lie wants to go for it, but instead opts to play it cool-headed and go back for the camps over on the invade side. Netherlands now finding themselves behind in kills, and now almost 2,500 gold down. So really, really nice work coming out from Sheffield here. The way that they've played this comp, they are totally fine being the reactionary defense. So they let the Athena just dash in taunt, go for that. Okay. Or just silence out 2 members at the same time, drop Dharmic Pillars, because it does feel very much like Netherlands have an all-in engage comp. They're not using these kind of globals to disengage. They're going all in for an assault again. Nice rolling assault forward. Good bit of CC, and that will get a 3-for-1 kill. Very nice, a 3-on-1 kill, so that's very, very nicely done, evening things up. But even so, the question's got to be asked. What are Netherlands getting in response for this? The answer, well, they're getting a tower stripped away from them by minions. Very unfortunate look. But this, thank you, Rosy. I spied it a little bit earlier, but this, mwah. And this is a hot take, so you can clip this. The Executioner is in a fine state for an item and is a good pickup, but not on your hunters. It has to be this. It has to be somebody else, like the jungler or like the solo laner, if they're looking to try and do a little bit more damage. Stripping protections is fantastic. You've got Guan Yu shredding protections as well. This means now that the Ram can look, once he gets a little bit of pen online, 20% at most, just go rest into crit and you're totally fine. You have such a fantastic look with the Executioner shredding. You've also as well got the Guan shred. I absolutely love this item. If you're on a melee character, Executioner Stone Cutting Sword Void Shield, I don't know how you're supposed to deal with anything like that. So I absolutely love this item, and I do genuinely believe that this is a fantastic pickup. We do see, though, as we mentioned, a couple items starting to come online. I am for opting for the Fail Not, 20% CDR, penetration, and crit, all these things that they want. And the Divine Ruin, an interesting one for the Scylla, but makes sense when you have got the fact that there's a Guan Yu coming in. You don't want to let this lifesteal be affecting how well team fights go. So I do like this. Going to be a little bit difficult for the Scylla to consistently proc this. It's just because you don't have someone like the Agni with a nice passive that ticks forever. But that, as we do see a little bit of a gank coming through to the solo lane. Blink forward, going in with the Serenade. And now a dive under tower should be good. Find the Tower of Assault, and that's all that they need. So great work. Tower will be stripped. Mid lane, we did also see Wobblefish ends up falling again. And if I'm on Sheffield, I don't care that my mid laner's not having a good game. I say in inverted commas. They're still even, but they're 1-5. It's like, oh no, my mid laner is being focused. Fair enough. We'll just deal with that as now. I love the way Eli is making a rotation around the backside. They will grab that as two-man dunk again goes through. Silverus will find Matt Kirk, and on the Atom Bomb goes. Love the way Eli on the barest of HPs. Barely, I'd say, even 50 at this point. So very, very nicely done. And honestly, what more can you ask for? Oh no, my support trades out for one in the situation. It's not perfect, but it's still getting Love You Where You Lie even further ahead. Now level 15 and 6-0-2 on this Hunter. But with this, Netherlands have found themselves a cheeky time to go for a Gold Fury. Fields of Love comes down. Agni's the only one even close to finding it. And he gets it with the combustion! No! There were 4 members. He was being CC'd. Everything was perfect. And Wobblefish, I take it back. You're having a fantastic game when you can come in and do something like that to steal away Gold Fury right in front of 4 people. That's just perfect. I have to believe that that was the passive combustion, because there was one Agni Bomb fired and that was it. It was that, or maybe noxious fumes, but that's still ridiculously well done coming out from Wobblefish, swinging not only even further into the lead, but also just, it's another gut punch to that morality. Netherlands had the perfect time to go for that Gold Fury. They just watched members back. They knew Apollo ult was down. The only one who might be coming in is Agni. Okay, there's 4 of us here. We've got Defender of Olympus for a big burst of damage, and you lose it. So I wouldn't be surprised if Netherlands try to take a fight, and they will take Wobblefish down. No, he's actually going to be able to make it away from this. That Aegis buys him enough time, as does the peel coming out from the rest of the team. So he ends up walking away from that one, shaken but undeterred. Fields of Love does come through, and Apollo will get shut down from a nice crit to the back of the head. Over the wall, Lamb 4 gets 2 kills and a great double kill. Rom did not rotate. Meanwhile, solo side, Blink's available for Guan. If they want to go for it, they do. Tallow Assault secures it, and that's a very nice look. More members on the map. Everyone's in vision. Ram is currently between tier 1 and tier 2 towers, so we'll be getting dove on here through the Cosmos. IM4 is now starting to make a big impact here. Ram cannot survive this much damage, and so will get taken down. A big misstep here from Sheffield. 4 members fall one by one. As the Netherlands do start to bite back, they will be able to get a tier 1 in mid and start cutting this lead down. It was 4,000. If this tower goes down, it will be down to just under 2,500, which it sits around that. So very nice look. Even after losing the Gold Fury, they are undeterred. And that, I think, is a very good sign for them. They are down, they are not out, and they do know that, all right, fair enough. We kind of messed up a little bit. Like, we did just mess up. But now they're starting to try and really put the pressure on with this comp. Just say, right, wherever and whenever we are at, we will always have more members of the team around than you will. We will kill you because of that numbers advantage. Even just by having IAM4 rotate, saying, fair enough, I lost the lane, whatever, let's go make a big impact in mid. And that's exactly what we ended up seeing now from this Cupid. The crits online, the kin size coming online. If you build an if you come out with this with an Atalantas and a Wind Demon, honestly, like, I love the build. It's not the best at any one particular thing, but it does its job facing pretty much anyone at this point. You know, seeing a Chronos Pendant third item for the Scylla. Now, a lot of people may be going at this and going, oh my god, Scylla doesn't have any pen. That's ridiculous and awful. Well, Crush, if we could take a quick look at that one, Rosy. Crush not only has the benefit of being able to reduce protections while you're standing in it, but as well after they've taken that damage. So 25% pen for this Scylla already is a very nice look, and you can see that it is still scary to fight. Defender of Olympus coming out on the left hand, or the right hand side, excuse me, as 3 members are over here. Spring's been popped, as is Atomic Pillars, but no one is falling low at all. The Cosmos comes through, and there's the cavalry charge. Big ults all around for both sides. Fatal Strike going in. They're just trying to find this Apollo, but they can't quite do it. This tanky front line is starting to cause a problem for the Netherlands, but meanwhile, IAM4 getting on a rampage here. Solos out the ROM, and then ends up trading tier 1 in mid for tier 1 in the left-hand side. Netherlands are really starting to cause problems here. Even when Sheffield try playing them at their own game, they can't quite burst people down fast enough. They're still base racing this going through, but Cupid is going to finish off the tier 1 tower first. They aren't able to actually get this tier 1 in mid, or tier 2 in mid. IAM4 will come away better for that. Lois finds love the way you lie as well, who spent way too long under the tower. Netherlands are in a fantastic spot. 4,000 gold, barely 1,000 now at this point. With IAM4 level 20 at under 20 minutes as well, they can start just tearing through everything. This Cupid has made so much impact this game. Oh, he got the dash call there. That's unfortunate. But still more members. They are chasing hard for this. And Netherlands are in a perfect spot to do so. With the team comp that they've got, they aren't overly punished for any kind of rotation because the mobility is absolutely off the charts for this. Now they're the ones who are looking to start up the Zoni Fury, and well, let's hope it goes better than the last time they were here. There's Fields of Love, and immediately, no rivaling this. They are just keeping everybody at bay the whole time. Sheffield get it again because of Rob's nose! Oh no! Oh no! I was so worried about the Ganesh that no one else saw where the ROM was, and he steals away in the Fury. That's gotta hurt Netherlands. Again, stop me if you've heard this before. They go for a perfectly timed Gold Fury. They learn from the last time this happened and just take no quarters. They say the moment Ganesh shows up, he steps up, we kill him. They force him out under the range of execute, so they cannot keep going. And then Rom Snipe just turns up and says, "Oh, thanks, mate. I'll just take that. Cheers." Oh, it's so devastating to see this. And nice look from Love the Way You Lie, stopping the backs coming through. Now with these Oni minions, left side will get pushed a little bit, pushing it back up to at least towards the middle side of the lane. Solo side will be cleared out. Agni's trying to push this up, and Sheffield are using this perfectly now to say, all right then, let's go take Fire Giant and force a fight around there. Pull everyone out from the minions. You don't get to luxury of just clearing those. Find a target, pick them off. There's 4 members, or 5 members are around here. Shell does come through, and Prozini Boy will find that. Very nice look, diving deep, trying to deal with this Cupid. Now it's up for the Apollo, who's trying to turn this around. Meanwhile, Athena has taken a huge brunt of the damage and cannot survive that. So will unfortunately end up falling 2 for 0. And a very nice look. They've got the sustain from the Guan Yu to keep them going. Not only that, but there's still this mounting pressure from minions, left side and right side, both in a very awkward spot. Netherlands now looking to try and answer back on this Fury. Loeth, though, very low. IAM4 secures one on the front side of things. They have peeled everyone off. IAM4 is doing a fantastic job on an unstoppable at this point. But they are one of the only 2 remaining members left. They cannot afford to keep sticking around. This mounting pressure, you can see from the pings, both tier 2s in the side lanes are under duress. And with that, Sheffield are actually looking to try and keep going on this Gold Fury. They have eyes on all the members from where everyone is. From the Netherlands, Scylla is here. Scylla does not have a monster, and she's shown up straight over a ward and is immediately destroyed for it. Fire Giant is still being looked at. And look at this, they're still being able to go on it. Fire Giant another 1,000 HP at this point. They get it on 3 members of their team and a tier 2 in left because of Oni. Sheffield playing their comp to its absolute limit. If they're saying that Netherlands want to be able to push and pull the map, fine, that's great. Let's just group up and take a 5-man fight. Absolutely beautiful. Absolutely love it. If I had a chair 2 here, they'd be gushing about how well Sheffield have towed the line on playing around their comp and how they forced Netherlands' hand every single time because what could they do? They have to try and take that fight where they started off because they can't give up Fire Giant, but at the same time, they haven't been able to clear out some of the waves, so they've suddenly now got to back it up, and Sheffield just find that perfect thread line every single time. And now sat at over 5,000 gold. Fire Giant on 3 core members of the team, 1 hunter, and also 1 frontline as well. With the mage as well, I guess, isn't to be understated, the additional damage that's going to help out. And look at this. Now we're really starting to see where Sheffield are going to be able to shine. No structure, no objective is safe. There is so much shred potential coming out from this comp. And as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be even more difficult to try and defend on Phoenixes. Like, I'm looking for, like, Emperor's Armors. We've seen a Witchblade online, but any kind of way to shut down any kind of attack speed, you need it, because there is no way you can deal with a Ram and Apollo on your objectives. You categorically cannot. The good news for Netherlands, though, is that they are a squishier comp as a result, so they do have to be a little bit more careful with that, and they can be bursted fairly effectively. Unfortunately, it is a little bit of a case of burst or be bursted, and Athena, not really one who's going to be able to step up and tank for too long, so that time to kill has gone down dramatically. Big fight coming out around here, around on the left-hand side. The Cosmos is using. The fight is split very drastically. Maxime does end up falling to the cavalry charge, which has isolated out a lot of players. Blink through still is not good enough to get out of the range. Wobblefish making up big, though, coming in towards the mid lane. 3 members end up falling. Netherlands go for a fight or flight option, and all or nothing doesn't quite turn up in their favor. 3 members end up falling, and no one falls in response for Sheffield. Lois is doing what they can to buy time. 2 members will respawn very shortly, or at least Maxime will, and they will get back to base. But now it's just up for sieging, and whilst they don't have the greatest of clears here, they can still put out a fair bit of poke. There's I'm a Monster that comes through and does clip Wobblefish. It's just been one of those kind of games, it seems. But Mid Phoenix has now fallen. That's the brace broken for the Netherlands. Now they're going to have to try and deal with something on the chase. They are looking to chase. There's a good blink, catches the dash, but Apollo gets away with a fantastic beat. And now they may have left the Guan Yu to die, but no, cavalry charge and the Dharmic Pillars cuts off not only the chase, but also means that Sini can get away. Beautiful, beautiful play coming out from Sheffield. 100% love to see what they've done here. Sitting up nearly 10,000 gold here at 25 minutes. This is, I don't want to say that this is perfect play, because they have had some mishaps. Wobblefish has faced a little bit of trouble, and their timings for these Furies have been off. They've been very lucky on going in with steals, because this is the 3rd time now that Netherlands have been able to catch them sleeping on that. Unfortunately, while it's 3rd time's the charm for Netherlands, they're still down over 10,000 gold at this point. That's not an Oni Fury or a Gold Fury to really try and pull them back in. That is literally the one Fury that Sheffield are going, oh no! Anyway, let's just try and keep pushing up at this point. They're going to set up a noun for the next Fire Giant, which is going to spawn in 45 seconds. They might find themselves a pick before then, as Zashu's ult is forced, as all 5 members now grouping in a death ball around this. Their warding has been very high up and very, very well placed. for this sort of engagement. Scylla is trying to hover around the mid lane to come back in, but they are not being allowed anyway in edge wires, all forced out away from this fire giant, and it's going to be so scary trying to get onto this fire giant at this point. There's so much shred, there's so much just turn and burn potential, and we can see Sheffield, they're trying to toe this line of finding a pick before they want to take this. They don't want to let that happen, as Achilles has been caught out alone trying to lazy back around the corner. They are going to be able to make it out there, but cavalry charge will secure it. Into the back goes through the Cosmos, and they are able to make it away. But now Sheffield are in a pole position. They've got their pick. They get 2 picks off it. Members are low, but they are not out. Apollo still hovering in the air trying to find a target if they need to, but instead will run. Laws does get a good shot down onto the Guan Yu, and that's big for them. Apollo does land it, and 2 crits to the back of the head puts Scylla out of commission. Sorry, not the kin size, but the RC comes through for a huge amount of healing, not to mention the crit as well. And now both of these hunters are just decimating Fire Giant. 3-for-1 trade out. Sheffield, their gold lead, they are playing it perfectly. And unfortunately, Netherlands just a little bit ropey on their kind of team comp, which is strange. They've played this idea of no matter when, no matter where, we'll have more members than you, but it's almost felt like they've cemented themselves in the position of, I can be a little out of position because, well, I've got teammates that will back me up, but now it's just, there is no time for Defender of Olympus to come through or through the Cosmos to bail anyone out. And even if they do bail someone out, they're still gonna die in exchange for it. And that, to me, is a problem Netherlands need to work on. They've laxed a little bit, especially in that last fight. Zashu getting his ult forced and then immediately trying to hang around a little bit too far up and away from the team. It is a problem, but at the same time, Sheffield able to punish that so effectively and quickly. I think it shows more to them than Netherlands making a misstep. Because let's be honest, every single one of us will have done the exact same thing Zashu has done there. We've all done it. So, but not every time you're going to get punished for it. And that's Sheffield's really good work, as we are now coming into the 30-minute mark. Netherlands do get their mid-Phoenix respawning, so that will give them a little bit of a reprieve, but it is still fresh off of respawn, so will not take long to tear down. I like what Netherlands are doing here, though. They're trying to find a cheeky pick themselves. All 5 members roaming. They cannot afford to be let out, but they have been spotted on wards, and so... not even spotted on wards, just spotted by player sight, the looks of things. So now they are all just going to have to back away. They've got minions pushing up, 2 fire waves coming through now on the right-hand side. The last fire wave in mid. Sheffield, all 5 members here with this fire giant. They're looking to try and push up on the left-hand side because they know members are going to have to try and deal with these other pressures in the other lanes. In terms of them sieging up, as soon as IM4's ult is down, they're in a fantastic spot. So I'd expect to see them come in, look for a bait and switch. They've got to be careful for when that ult comes through. There's a good blink taunt. There's the Fields of Love, and it's a dive outside of Phoenix. Ammo Monster has been used, but this is so far split. Zashu is well out of position here. Pushing members so far back is great, but unfortunately there's no one else capitalizing on the front-hand side of this fight. Now all those ultimates have been used, and this just means that the rest of Sheffield can walk in and tear through the Phoenix immediately. Loris does get 1 in exchange for it, but they are immediately burnt away in response. Asart finds 1 more damage shot and he's 1 more auto to really try and secure much more damage, but unfortunately, the Netherlands are able to walk away from that one. Mid-Phoenix, though, is now where the battering might lie. The way you lie on very low HP has to be careful, and will end up surviving very nicely there. Second Phoenix has fallen. All of them have gone. Bubblefish falls to Maxime, and now members from Sheffield are just trying to get away. IM4 gets a great shutdown here, but the base is still exposed, and there's a lot of work for the rest of Netherlands to do here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Love the Way You Lie come back in here. There's Dharmic Pillars coming to use. There's the blink into a mez that puts 2 members out of commission for a while. They're looking for the Scylla. I'm a Monster. Doesn't land. It's a double kill for Love the Way You Lie. Thanks to the Dharmic Pillars and that Benevolence passive coming through from Ganesh. All 3 Phoenixes fall. 3 for 3 trade out. And that's not even the worst part about it, because now you've got a Hunter and a support with Fire Giant, who can quite easily look now at Oni minions. It's bad enough dealing with Oni minions in the first place. Now put on top, not one, not two, but 3 lanes worth of Oni Fire minions. That is a devastating look to see. As you do see a quick pause come through here from, I believe, the Netherlands on this side of things. It's a very scary look to see in Sheffield. I don't want to say the writing's on the wall and the game is over, but it's going to take not 1 major misplay, not 2, but I'm thinking you need a full white on top of a full white at least before you can even get on even keel. The good news is, though, is that despite all the gold lead and despite the XP lead, everyone's level 20 now, so cross that one off your caster's bingo card. Level 20s on everyone, and most items are finished and fully online for everyone, so it's pretty much only a couple little things online that are absolutely necessary for a couple members of the Netherlands. We do see, as being pointed out, Lois is trying to be somewhat more of a frontline presence here with the Witchblade to deal with these hunters. Unfortunately, it just doesn't feel like it's quite enough to deal with any of this situation. So they are kind of being run out and dove. And Netherlands, honestly, the way they've played these defenses on the sieges, they've been fairly effective. It's go in, get some damage, look to try and find as much CC as they can. Unfortunately, they are playing this very much in an old enemy style, which is just our support goes in, we dump everything immediately. If that doesn't work, well, at least we put a lot of damage on the members. The problem is that they're not all necessarily able to focus the same target. Zashu's diving very deep to deal with it, and by the way, that was a Fire Giant taken that's now enhanced, so good luck, Netherlands. You're going to need it. Oh, no. Oh, please tell me they didn't just spot the Scylla. They spotted the Scylla. Half health from 1 meteor, and Wobblefish turns it around. Up into the Cosmos goes 1. Well goes Wobblefish, and they will secure it with a good bit of defense work, but unfortunately, who was left alone the whole time? It was Zashu. Fatal Strike out, and Art with the Assault will secure that kill. Phoenix is now being looked at, and I don't know how well anyone's going to do. There's 2 left, or 3 left here. Make that 2 now. Maxime will end up paying the price. I believe they might be getting fairly low, but the crits and nasty passive come through big for them in that engagement. They may very well be able to just look and end. Loris cannot survive this. I am 4. As a fantastically strong game they've had, isn't able to save it. Sheffield take game 1 in a very, very nice fashion. And breathe. What a game that was. Game 1, these are the kind of games I love. It's a 30-minute game. There's a lot of action in it, but it's calculated. And that, I think, is the word I have to use coming in for this from Sheffield. It was calculated. They worked out where their weakness was in, oh, we're kind of getting picked off when there's so many members who can show up at one point. Okay, then let's just all group up and outright beat them in trades at that point. 2 times the Gold Fury steals. That was less a mechanical error from Netherlands and just, that's a nat 20 roll that you just can't necessarily all play around. The only things you could really argue is, oh, maybe if they had a ward deeper down to spot it out, but they made that change from the first time. To then have it stolen away the second time was most unfortunate for them, but really love seeing this draft that come out. Wobblefish had an off start to the game, but the way that Sheffield played around that was just saying, fair enough, if Wobblefish is going to be a sacrificial lamb, that's fine. As long as they get their damage off, we can rely on our hunters to be able to keep going through it. And love the way you lie 100% this Apollo jungle. It's not something you're going to necessarily see in all of your games, but when you do see it, if it's played like that, it makes you question, why aren't we seeing this around more often? So I am so looking forward to seeing how the next couple of games could very well go. And like I said, Netherlands, they know their kind of draft. They built a draft. They built a comp. They started to get some momentum behind them. Unfortunately, they weren't able to adapt as quickly as Sheffield were. So back to the drawing board for them. We'll have to see how they're able to get on in game 2, which we'll be bringing you shortly after this quick break.
myself. Can't find myself. Can't find myself. I can't find myself. I can't find myself. Can't find myself. Go. Yeah.
And we are back after a fantastic game one. Sheffield came away the victors. The real question is this going to be a 2-0 for Sheffield, or will Netherlands be able to bite back and take us to a game three? Either way, I am excited to see how well this is going to go. Still SuperSonicBlur and still solo casting for now, but we got picks and bans going underway. Sheffield still taking that first pick spot. Netherlands looking to try and counter it. Ban-wise, still the emoji ban. I dread to think what would happen if either one of these teams ended up with the emoji after last game, but so far, still fairly standard. If I'm looking at what I want to change up, I'm thinking maybe we pick maybe we try and change up our pick in the solo lane. I feel like that was kind of the pick that got a lot of the flack side of things, and I think maybe if we want to go for a jungle with mobility, try and find something which can work a little bit earlier with damage rather than having to build into this tankier look. Maybe if you wanted to go for something like that, there's Saket, Thor, both come to mind for jungle side of things. And solo, I hate to say that you've got, oh, just go Wukong, but there is always Wukong available. Ban-wise, though, everything else is pretty much the same as last time. Nemesis coming through. The Ra ban, again, very, very solid ban. I believe that we saw the Ra ban in the last game, and it makes total sense. As quote unquote bad a game as Wobblefish had, you don't give someone Ra and give them that sustain option. So Sheffield just, you're not going to get to play that. At the same time, neither in the Netherlands. So we're still waiting on the next ban to come through. I think if Sheffield really want to try and hamper something through, then yeah, I like this. Take away the ROM, because it means if they first pick Cupid, you're going to have to force IM4 onto something else. This to me says, we want to take away your ADC. IM4 was the biggest linchpin for the Netherlands and showed up as hard as they could. It was a shame, unfortunately. It was just one too many fights that broke their back. Beyond recovery at that point. That said, Cthulhu was left open, and Sheffield will happily take that one away. So the nice look in the solo lane, a great work that we saw from Sini Boy as well. I have no queries or questions as to whether or not this is something that we could end up seeing played really well. And we saw what happened with the Guan Yu, which doesn't necessarily pride itself on getting huge amounts of pressure. So now you've got a Cthulhu who definitely can do that in the midst of these team fights. That descent into madness just causes so many problems across the entire team. And the Netherlands have to build around the how do we deal with Cthulhu now. You can't pick the Nemesis, who's very good into it. The only other options you've really got are usually things like some kind of walls to obstruct their path moving forward. But I'd be very concerned seeing Ymir and Kabrakan picked up here. The Thor is an option and honestly might be the best look for them if they want to just go with the run from Cthulhu, but Netherlands will have to figure out something else as a look here. We're still waiting on their first two picks, and part of me is wondering whether or not you just give IM4 Cupid straight away. I like this though. Very nice look here. Take away Matt Kirk's Ganesh, which was absolutely fantastic, and put Lois on a huge CC bot. And I say CC bot, but Humbat's Ganesh. You have all the CC in the world, and you've taken a targeted pick away from the side of Sheffield. So absolutely love this. I think these are two fantastic picks. If Sheffield want to go ahead and grab the Cupid, fair enough, they can grab the Cupid. There are still other picks that can deal with it fairly effectively, one of which is something like we're seeing here, which is the On Her locked in. It's a great early game, great kind of pressure pushing forward, and I absolutely love seeing this. Could also see, and it looks like we will be, Sheffield. Wobblefish said, it was a fluke. You know, it was a fluke. I'm running back the Agni, and honestly, I don't blame them. Agni still worked out fairly well for them. This early pressure from Sheffield is terrifying, but what's more terrifying is the fact that you look at this On Her and go, oh yeah, it's On Her's ADC. It's, you know, it's a hunter. It's going to ADC. Simba Jungle is a thing, and I would not surprise me if we see Love the Way You Lie go for this On Her. Very high clear, great gank potential, huge burst, just shut everyone else down. Netherlands do round out their first side of the picks and bans with a Hoi Yi. And now we're going to see what else is going to be taken off the table. Ares Darji from the Netherlands. The Ares was hovered before, and the Darji makes a lot of sense taking that away. But it's Achilles and Guan Yu from Sheffield, so they do not want either of these warriors to go into the solo lane, and that makes total sense. Executes are a great way to deal with Cthulhu when he's got so much HP, and Guan Yu just loves the team fight anyway and can cause problems for Cthulhu by, well, healing up the wave. So that is a very nice targeted set of bans coming through against what Netherlands could look to try and deal with. The Ho Yi is one who can kind of have a fun time with it. You get that mark of the Golden Crow, amping up how much damage you do to a target, the lower HP they get, similar to Arachne passive, but it's going to be very difficult to consistently put Ho Yi in a position where they're able to free cast onto Cthulhu. As you see, Amaterasu locked in for Netherlands, a very solid team fight look and very safe pick for the solo lane. Sheffield now answer with a Fenrir to go in for their jungle pick, so that's a very, very strong look. Again, great gank potential, just great overall control, and a nice beads burner to be able to set up, or just, pick someone up and send them straight back to a very nice awaiting on her, or Agni damage, which is great. They are going to round up their draft with the Kepri, so help with that sustain on the dive. I like this. Netherlands' final pick, which they almost snap pick at this point, is a Discordia. So changing things up from the mid, getting something that comes online a little bit earlier, a little bit more CC. And honestly, Netherlands, they've looked at their draft and they've sort of gone, right, what went wrong last game? We kind of got a bit doo-dooed on when it came to the team fights. We got a little bit out of position, and we now need to work on tightening that back up. So they've picked a team comp that feels a lot more focused, and when they are all grouped together, they can start doing more damage with that. They're not relying on out-rotating people. They're relying on a little bit more of that control, a little bit more damage to be able to focus fire on that. And I really like this. And for my opinion, either way, regardless of which team ends up winning this, I think we're in for not only a great game, but definitely a great set here. Sheffield looking to try and end this one out here. One more, and they will be making it through to the finals of the Vulpis World Cup. Netherlands trying to stay out of the losers bracket here in this best of three. They're going to be trying to do it with a fairly strong team fight comp. Whether or not they'll actually get to do that, though, we'll have to see. Now, picks and bans are done. Let's see how this game is won. Game 2 of Sheffield and the Netherlands coming to you shortly. And much like we saw in Game 1, both teams starting to just try this group up look. Sheffield, no funny business. They all want to be making their way over on the left-hand side. They don't want to let someone get picked off. And Maxime, definitely aware of it from last time. Probably won't make the same. The moment he sees it, all right, guys, they're all here. Let's just not lose something. They are getting hit a little bit more awkwardly, though. There's the abduct coming through, and an impale the follow boot. Maxime, no, ends up falling at 8 seconds in. Cast them. Oh, no. I said Maxime would be fine. I said they knew that they'd be there. All I wasn't thinking was just how much damage was going to be coming through off a great bit of CC. The fact that we saw Kepri grab the abduct, just say, yeah, I can afford to do that, is absolutely fantastic. First blood for Wobblefish, and all 4 members also get themselves an assist on it. And there are beads. Maxime even have beads, but I don't think it necessarily would have saved them, just because of the fact that there was such a great grouping from the team. All 5 members were there. The CC was good. The body blocks would have been there if the CC hadn't gone through. So, unfortunate look, but with all that said and done, it is only a small lead and a, oops, that's unfortunate look. So, it's not as if they're missing any XP from the wave or anything like that. And actually, it's a clean look to start things off. Beads have been used by Art, and they are unfortunately not able to find too much in there. But again, great abduct coming through from the Kepri, and they're just looking to see what they can grab here in the duo lane. Kepri, a fantastically strong wave pusher. Make your minions stronger, make their minions weaker. On her, make whoever I hit weaker. Like I mentioned, they started with the abduct, so I had to wait till level 2 to get that one. Just take a quick peek at solo. Cthulhu is doing Cthulhu things, and Zashu has to be playing back a little bit more carefully on this side for now. Unfortunately, a lot of the Warrior Blessing stacks. The big thing coming off that first blood was more a case of the stacks that they're going to be able to get on the blessings more than anything. But that's a great stun setup. Full Fearless and Unchained. Quite enough damage, but Loris is pushed to the breaking point there, and Solo, the exact same thing happens. Sean Boy finds the kill with a little bit of help from the minions. Great fear coming through and just setting up a super strong look now in Solo. 2 kills and a great look for Solo. Solo now with all the pressure in the world means that now Love the Way You Lie never has to look over there at all, and they can focus to try and help out towards this mid game and mid lane around here, and that's going to be a scary look. If we already see that Loris is being focused, as you should, against a Humbats who is not level 5, then that's just going to mean that the Netherlands take that little bit longer to try and get their members online, and that pressure could spill very easily into a problem. Netherlands for now, though, despite their 2 kills, they don't find themselves down too far at this point. It is nearly 1,000 gold, but a lot of that will be from the first blood and the assists for it, so all is okay. I'm hesitant to say they are fine, but they are in a very good spot to be able to try and find something. Good bit of work, and an overhead smash from Loris will grab them a return kill and put them on the board. Very nice work. And on an honest misstep, I feel, at this point. The Cthulhu with a lot of pressure, unfortunately, just taking a little bit too much damage. That illuminating strike, 10% more damage from everything. The minions can rack up fairly quickly, so they do have to be very careful. That said, Love the Way You Lie, undeterred in trying to find, well, whatever they can. So far as dropping a normal ward here, we'll end up meeting up with the Discordia in mid, but no major problems here. And this is a much more controlled and quiet game. We did see this from game 1 as well, where aside from the first sort of couple kills, it then died down. And honestly, this is kind of what I'd expect to see from these 2 teams. The duo lane, I expect a few more sparks to fly. Both of these gods do want to fight, and box on her is considered one of the harder ADCs, not necessarily in so much as what their kit does, but all the different options and variables you've got for how you use their kit, and Hoyi as well. If you can find a good double bounce or trick shot, even just ricocheting off of the pillar, then you're in a great spot. But mid level 5s come through, and ults are being used. Shell is used by Kirk, and that's a nice look for them. So they do end up with 2 ults being used in the mid lane for what equates to just 1 shell, and unfortunately weren't quite able to all focus out the same target. I believe that it was Matt Kirk who ended up taking the brunt of it, and they're a Kepri. They've got their full tank boots online as well, so they're in a totally fine spot to lose that. And I am glad to see, though, that Loris has been able to get to level 5 without too much any issues. They're actually ahead at this point of Love the Way You Lie, and part of that maybe due to the reason, as we've just seen here, not only the extra bit of time they've spent on the solo side, but also they've started with tier 1 Cudgel. No power, just HP at this point. Look at this, Wobblefish is trying to set up for a cheeky little bait around here. In fact, multiple members from Sheffield are here to try and look for this invade here. Rolls is here as well, but with no ult available, they're going to get dove in. Amaterasu taking a huge amount of damage. There come the Dharmic Pillars, and Wobblefish is able to find Zakshu before the fight really breaks out. Now, Love the Way You Lie is looking to try and heal up, but he's getting CC'd quite badly. There's a good Scatter's Blessing to get them out if they were to need it. The beautiful route, Mark Kirk finds a kill for themselves. 2 for none. Cthulhu getting low, does get hit by the Strife, but beautiful body blocks from Matt Kirk mean they're going to get away. Invade, 2 kills, no deaths. Sheffield more than happy with that result there. Now we can see its gold lead starting to rear its head again, feeling very much like game 1. Started slower and then slowly started to accrue, and a lead did Sheffield. They don't have to worry a huge amount on any kind of sneaky gold fairy looks. We're still too early in the game to find anything like that, but Netherlands have to be very careful. Sheffield they've strategized that play of, we're going to set up for an invade on blue buff from the moment that ward was placed at the enemy blue buff. You see now, though, Loris might be trying to set up a bait here. There's the blink forward. Sunwalker goes through. There's a good turnaround with the Desert's Fury, but not enough damage. Loris will secure that 2v1. Meanwhile, in mid, Maxim ends up taking a spill as well. Vulpis definitely looked at last game and went, it's just a bad game. Screw it, I'm going to run this back and prove that it was good. But before, they were 0-5 or 0-3 at this point. They're now 3-0. So a very, very nice look for this kind of a comp here. The Cthulhu as well, thanks to that invade and the ability to stick around with the team, definitely in a totally more comfortable spot. Can secure out the totem of Ku as well. So it's a nice look for the rest of the team. But this is pretty much what we expect coming in, or at least I've seen coming in against this comp. Sheffield have been a very good team that plays very, very well around each other and with each other. They don't ever sit back and have like a star player moment. It's all 5 members all working together, and if one person has a slightly off game, then everyone else can pick up the slack. It's not one person like we saw with Netherlands, where when they had an awkward spot, it was all on IAM4 to deal with that. The way that Sheffield have played this, though, is a very scary look and very nice to see coming out from this kind of team. Really looking to find too much, though. Vulpis actually dashes in very aggressively. Looking for damage. Doesn't quite find out as much as they wanted. They should possibly be able to find the kill there. They need one more auto is all they need. All 5 members are around. Nice look from the Ragnarok, trying to find some damage. Scarab's Blessing has been used and will be popped as well. Sheffield don't lose any members. To get very deep diving, though. Looking for kills. Now they're just trying to back away. But this, again, is talking about that point I mentioned. There is no one player on this team who is a star. Nice work from Love the Way You Lie to be able to die to tower. No one even getting an assist for that. Unfortunate they had to, but still the better result of it. And Sheffield, I think a rare misstep there from Vulpis. They got a little bit big for their britches and sort of looked at that and went, oh, I could definitely do this. There was no wards available, no eyes on the left-hand side, and Vulpis, a little too eager to prove themselves, ends up taking their first spill. So unfortunate, but unfortunately for the Netherlands, not able to punish too aggressively. Matt Kirk able to save the life of the jungler as well. So all is fair, and hopefully it hasn't equated to too much of an issue. The gold lead has shrunk, though, from near 2,000 gold to about 1,800, like similar to last game. However, it is unfortunate that they haven't been able to find too much health. The Netherlands, I feel like when they get into just a little bit of pressure, it takes them just that split second to all agree where they're going, what they're doing, and looking for at this point. They're still sticking into the laning phase, which at this point I don't mind. IAM4 gets a good ricochet, but unfortunately cannot survive that amount of damage. They are able to leap up over the whole Desert's Fury. They will get slowed here. Love the Way You Lie looking for the brutalized, and they do get it as well. Nice closing of the distance, and unfortunate now IAM4 takes their first spill of the game, and that's a whole wave they're going to end up losing to tower. This could be a problem for them. Sheffield as well, with all their members grouping up. They're actually looking at a very early Gold Fury here, which I don't really mind the call for here. All 3 Agni Bombs have been used. There's the Dynamic Pillars. Netherlands, payback from the last game. They steal away their Gold Fury, and they pick up Matt Kirk as well. Now looking for more kills on return. It's a 1-for-1. Support for Jungler. The Jungler already had used as much as they needed to. Discordia inside the erratic behaviors, looking to try and get their cooldowns back up. Gets impaled back into the wall. Beads is just a little too late and will pay the price. 2-for-1 in exchange. Make that 3-for-1 as Vulpis ends up finding a 3rd kill for the team. So despite the Gold Fury going down, they still end up pulling further ahead. Sheffield now hold their lead and start getting a little bit more XP in their favors. This is a great look for them. Just unfortunate timing. Mid tower also goes down. M4 takes a stun and a bit of damage to the back of the head to follow it. And this is now absolutely perfect for Sheffield. Unfortunate with the Gold Fury, but hey, never has it felt so sweet for Netherlands to secure a Gold Fury at this point. That is just poetic justice. And an unfortunate start to the fight. Netherlands, they get a great look with the Fear No Evil, but they can't ever... Again, it's one of the situations where the Fear No Evil is placed, it isolates one member, but then for the Netherlands to try and chase further, it becomes next to impossible without end up losing members in response. Art did absolutely beautiful. Just a flick of the wrist for the Impale, find where the Discordia is, and take them down was absolutely beautiful. Beads have been used, and love the way Eli secures a killing spree. They're around 4 members, but will use the Ragnarok to get themselves to safety. A little extra protections as well, always a good look. Dazzling Offensive has been used, we'll get that cut, but now the solo laner in Cthulhu is here. Haven't seen the ultimate yet from the Cthulhu, but you don't need to worry too much on that. Just trying to stick around and stay alive. Sheffield, a beautiful solo. I am 4. You had a perfect game last time with some of the later stages trying to come back in and cause problems. Sheffield to take a note of that, and there is a big target on this Hoagi's back, so great solo there, and I think that's part of the reason for the on-her pick. Now Discordia is already a right behavior to wait. Is impaled, furthering the problem, does get clipped by one of the rain fires, but now is just trying to buy as much time as they can. Ward comes through. One brutalized tap to the back of the head will get the kill. The Netherlands are starting to fall apart a little bit here. 12 kills in 12 and a half minutes for Sheffield, tripling the amount that the Netherlands have. They are just starting to run the map, and this is very scary. Netherlands, it feels somewhat like the solo laners paradox, where when you're behind but you almost want to fight, you want to fight more, but that is the absolute worst thing you can do, because it's, oh, we almost won that fight. We got Gold Fury, we got a couple members. If we just played that a little bit better, we'd have won it. But now you're behind a little bit more. There's more gold, more XP, and more problem to deal with. Sheffield get Pyro almost had it stolen away. And we do see the blink in, or we meet back in with the Sacred Monkey. Forces out the Scarab's Blessing. Lois doesn't have blink available to try and follow this up. We will be able to squeak away, as the crab boys like to do. Can we get some crabs in chat? But it was an unfortunate situation that Netherlands, they fought back in, almost winning a fight, and then not quite. But it meant that Sheffield, it's death by 1,000 cuts, where you just have 1 or 2 little bits where it's now harder to try and fight into. You have to do just that little bit more. So the perfect play from last game now has to be even more perfect there. You have to go even further to find that same level of impact. So for Sheffield here, this is a great look for them. If they want to stop the Netherlands from doing too much more, all they need to do is just keep these fights going. Unfortunately, Amma doesn't end up in the tower, but the Rushing Terror will secure the kill. 13-4 now, sitting at almost 3,000, over 3,000 gold. There it is. So again, just look at that graph. It's that constant, every so often it's down, then up, and down, then up. And it's just constantly moving in this trend upward for Sheffield right now. And I do, like I mentioned in the first game, I love these kinds of games where Sheffield are able to meticulously start trying to find points of weakness and pressure them. Not overly so, just a little bit of pressure on. And then they find another one, a little bit of pressure on. And then a third one. And that all culminates in a bigger fight that then takes place. And it's been really, really well done from this. Netherlands, they need to slow this game down. They need to just consolidate at this point, find whatever farm they can get, stop these fights going on. If they can get to the later stage of the game, they have a fantastic looking comp. Amma late game is brilliant. That presence alone with the auras, movement speed, power is great. Humbats with 40% CDR and a good bit of damage to the team is great. Discordia has really great crowd control and CC, and Ganesh stopping people go through is great. Ho Yi, fantastic teamfight ult. You just need to hold on and get there long enough. Sheffield, though, do not want to let that happen. Say, if you don't want to fight us, then we will take these objectives. So 4 versus 4 at this current time. Great Strive sets up a little bit of damage, but it is returned in fire. Great abduct forces beads with a lot of damage. This whole use free casting. The ult has been forced and popped, which is very unfortunate. And now in that time, Lois thought that they could turn it back around, but no one else could follow them up. And so they will end up paying the price themselves. Spent the beads to try and survive. Wobblefish got low, and it's exactly like I mentioned before. We had such a great looking fight. Wobblefish almost died. If we'd have just focused them a little bit more, then we could have done it.
Now you've got to do that again, but more so. As you see some great shots from IM4, who, despite being down, is still feeling, I wouldn't say okay, but they are not under a huge amount of pressure. I figured we might see some more pressure over to this duo lane side, but we see IM4 now opting to go in for this Berserker shield. They know that they're having to play around very aggressive on her at this point, so they've got to be very careful. This is interesting, though, as Rosy is currently pointing out. This is Shield of Thorns, not only on the Cthulhu as we expect, but also as well from the Fenrir with a stone-cutting sword to boot. This feels very reminiscent of the first game with the Executioner pick of, I want to make my hunter do more damage. I've got stone-cutting sword, I've got thorns, no one's going to be able to touch me. And this is a great work at this point. And 3 members do surround Matt Kirk, who's very tanky at this point in the game. Full teams online. 3 members now starting to punt damage into the back of the support, and they are gone quicker than anyone else can respond. Norse does have the ult available, but can't get into a position to use it. It's very unfortunate, and a nice pick from Sheffield. Again, Netherlands feel like they can start these kind of engagements. They're just going to be a little more careful than that. There's the Ragnarok being used to pull back into the Discordia. Beat Aegis are used, but it's not good enough to survive. Now we get to see the Cthulhu make an impact here. Thorns pop and just standing in front of IM4, who cannot out-damage this. Wobble does end up toppling to the Amaterasu on the backside, who's doing a lot of damage in now. Will end up finding a second kill with a Heavenly Refraction, but it's 3 for 2, and an only Fury available for Sheffield here. 18 minutes in, 18 kills going their way, and they're starting to push that gold lead even further, now sat at over 5,000 gold with his only Fury as well. To start pressuring out a little bit more for map. They've already got the mid in tier 1, the mid tier 1 down, so mid tier 1 down. You've now got left side and right side both available. Pyromancer as well, but Netherlands are trying to do what they can and return some of the objective pressure, looking mostly at this mid lane tower, but cannot grab anything just yet. So I don't want to talk too much on like siege defenses here right now, but the way that this has been going, Sheffield have never enabled the Netherlands to hold on any kind of defense or defensive stop measure. And I feel like this is partially on the Netherlands. They've always pulled the trigger first and been punished heavily for it. So I want to see them try and take the second. I want Netherlands to be the responsive team. Just a little bit more here. Sheffield grabbed Pyromancer, and I'm glad to see Netherlands do not try and defend on that, because it is only a Pyromancer after all. Maxine, those beats have been used. Now on the tier 2 tower, there's the descent into madness, but Desert's Fury secures that one first. Out comes the golden apple of Discord, which doesn't end up finding anything, and now more members of the Netherlands have split up again, and it's cost them a second member here. Still looking for more. IM4 is saying, nope, I am not being involved in this. I need to pull a pretty prime and just farm up as best I can. I need to get into the game to make an impact. The rest of Sheffield, though, they have started up this very early fire giant here. Others are starting to suss something out here from the Netherlands, but I don't know whether or not they're going to be able to stop them. 4 members go get a pull in, and that forces the bees. Ragnarok pulls them straight back in. Shell comes out, but it's not enough damage to save them. Loris ends up falling to Love the Way You Lie. Meanwhile, Sheffield are still on this fire giant, and it goes down. 20 minutes hit. Not what? Oh, come on! One more order was all you needed. Come on, don't stop until you've actually secured it. Wobblefish now in a 1v1 spot. Does take a lot of damage, but punch back a fair bit themselves. The Soul Gem proc hasn't saved them just yet. Heavenly Reflections can't quite find enough damage. They need to just find their abilities back up and running. They need one more. Is all they need. They do get the dash back, but it's straight into the Dharmic Pillars. Soul Gem comes through again, but Heavenly Reflections will secure it. Wobblefish is gone, despite the help from the Cthulhu. Meanwhile, though, hey, there's 2 members over on the left-hand side. We've got Fire Giant. Should we get right side? Yes, do that instead. So even when Netherlands get themselves a win, Sheffield still makes it out to be a wrong choice for Netherlands. And I can't even say, like, it's a wrong choice for them. There was someone off alone. You gotta kill them. They got Fire Giant. It just took a little too long, which is very unfortunate. So now with Fire Giant in tow on 4 members of Sheffield rather than 5, it's still a fantastic look for them. We can see Iqbal's now online fully for this on her. You can box into literally any member of the enemy team. Kinza as well, so not even the tanks are going to be able to survive this for too long. Cheeky boy, gonna get the red buff. And honestly, I do think that at this point, putting the red buff on the Onher just makes a little more sense. The way that this game has been going, it has all been through this Onher 7-1 right now. 7-1 of 5 for the total slash line of things. And the sieging wise here, we are going to see how Netherlands are going to hold. They have a lot of CC, and that's very, very useful for these kind of siege defenses in a very small and concentrated area. So, as we're seeing now, the Discordia definitely has a lot to show up for, I would say, at this point. The Soul Gem as well is going to be very useful. The Doom Orb for a huge amount of power to just chunk through this. But by the same standard, Vulpis also has that with a full Spear of the Magus as well. So can just turn on any single person. That Spear of the Magus passive, procking on any member, just absolutely ruins them at this point. We're going to see a teleport come through. As you can see, Ashley on the right-hand side. Big Fear No Evil. That's exactly the kind of thing I want to see from the Netherlands. But again, they drop 3 ultimates, and everyone from Sheffield just walks away and goes, all right then, thanks for that. Now it's our turn, as we see Lovely Right just jumping onto the backside. No one able to survive through all of this. The whole time, though, Phoenix is being focused and has been taken. Ragnarok used, forcing the beads, and now everyone else is just starting to walk further into the Titan room. Dazzling Offensive comes out, gets a good shot. That's a very nice ult coming through the Discordia, but that hit Wobblefish and barely did anything at this point. Cthulhu now tanking up a storm as mid Phoenix is being looked at. They have to be careful without minions here to stop it. Cthulhu does get the proc on the Stone of Gaia, but is not good enough to save them. But at the end of the day, oh no, we lost our solo laner to get 2 Phoenixes. Okay, let's just keep it going back. But actually, no, they're not done yet. Netherlands try to push them away, but get pushed back themselves. 8th kill now for this Onher. Looking for his 9th. He does get it on the double kill, and is divine at this point. Unfortunate for Netherlands. They go, all right, they've just lost 1 member. They've just lost Phoenix. They're low. We can turn it. Matt Kurt just goes, all right, then come here. Let's give you a hug. Hugs them immediately to just get absolutely destroyed. This Onher pick has done absolutely ridiculous things this game. He's still up on his own, and every other member from the Netherlands is looking going, guys, it's Onher. You just can't play this Onher. There's nothing we can do with this Onher. It's just terrifying. Sheffield get Pyromancer again, and now Thatcher finds themselves around all the members of the team, thanks to the unstoppable doggo that is Fenrir pulling them back in with the ultimate. And my goodness, my gracious, my me, 25 kills. Sheffield are on for a kill a minute at this point in the game. And if you want to include the 2 Phoenixes as well, then they are certainly pulling ahead further and further for it. The Fire Giant has worn off, but the base is left intact as well as it runs. The last bastion that they have at this point is on the right-hand side. And I'm not so sure that Sheffield are going to take too long to try and push up for that. Fire Giant will respawn shortly. They may look to try and go for this Primal Fury beforehand, though I wouldn't be surprised if instead they just say, nah, let's just go for the Fire Giant. They can give up this Fury if they absolutely have to. And we can see, yep, they're just waiting for it at this point. They know what they want, and you can see they're having a bit of fun with that one there. The pillar in front of your teammate. It's like if you play on her, it's almost a prerequisite you do that at least once this game. Unfortunate there, but now Fire Giant has respawned. Perfectly placed pillar to get immediately knocked down by the Fire Giant there. Just want to go ahead and point that out. I'm having a little fun with this as well. Best Hunter play right there. It lose the pillar, lose the extra damage. Dazzling Offensive comes out to deal with the Ragnarok and will stun to buy them time, but that's a big team fight ultimate down for the Fenrir, who just turns to the team and goes, yeah, they're all down now. We can just pretty much walk in whenever we like. The only major team fight ult they've got to worry about now is the Fear No Evil. And to be perfectly honest, I'm pretty sure they are playing like the ult name would suggest. They do not fear anybody on the Netherlands at this point. They will just look to try and poke out, waiting for the minions to get in. They have 2 fire waves pushing up slowly at this point, and Discordia is trying to start putting some chip damage, but it's not good enough. Thorns pop diving around the back, goes to Cthulhu, causing a huge problem for the team. Darmic Pillars is perfectly placed though, which stops the rest of the members from getting in. This Fenrir though does try and dive deep into the throne room, looking for something, can't quite find it. Unfortunately, Thorns have been popped. Great work. Finally, the Phoenix has fallen. That's all been gone. Scarab's blessing to get this Kepri out in trouble. And a beautiful work. Every single member from Sheffield playing to the absolute extremes. A double kill now for the Fenrir. There's the Ragnarok backup. Gets themselves on the double kill. And their 11 kills. They are immortal after their first spill. And ladies and gentlemen, I think that we have our first finalist here for the Vulpis EU World Cup. Sheffield are moving to the finals. What a set, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1 was an absolute fantastic play coming forward. And Game 2, Sheffield just kick it up another notch coming into this. Such a great look coming out from them in this kind of situation. So beautiful. Absolutely love seeing what we saw coming out from there. Beautiful work from all members at this point of the team. Honestly, though, I have to look at this on her 11-1-8. I can't not say that this on her was a big portion of the game. It was most of this, but the way Sheffield play, I am looking forward to seeing what they come into the finals. The Netherlands definitely have shown that they've got their heads in the right places. It's just that 1 or 2 little things that get punished for, and they can't quite come back from it at this point. IAM4 had a fantastic game 1, and unfortunately, Sheffield played around that in game 2, just said, okay then, you're not going to get to do that. We're going to pick on her. We're just going to kill you near enough on cooldown, and you're not going to make that impact. So commiserations to the Netherlands on that side, but congratulations to Sheffield, who will be moving on to the finals. But it's not all over for the Netherlands. They will still be moving on down into the lower bracket, where they can have a chance to battle back up to face Sheffield off in the finals. However, that is going to do it for this stream, ladies and gentlemen. My name has been SuperSonicBlur. Down below, you can find all the places to find and follow not only the Discords, the Twitters, but this will also let you know when we're going to be streaming again, what other tournaments we've got coming up, so you guys can get involved as well. Like I said, that is where we're going to end things off for today. Thank you very much for watching and coming out and seeing this. Rosy, cameraman on here. It's always a pleasure to have, because without them, we would not have a stream to bring you. And until next time, we will see you all later. Take care.